amazing, but they will remember how you made them feel and
Yep.
how you
Yeah.
say things, and also the nonverbal, your facial
Yeah.
expressions, all that kind of stuff really speaks a lot louder than just the words that come out of your mouth, right?
The way that person reacted to that tone, I
Mhm.
wouldn't have reacted that way.
Yeah.
But they reacted in a different way that actually I think I like that better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of,
And you're drawing influence from
yeah,
that.
and then
Yeah.
practice that.
You know, everybody works hard for the money. So, of course,
Yeah.
you're not trying to, go out there and take people's money. But at the same time, you're like, this is the value I bring to the table.
Mhm.
And so being surrounded by everybody and being reminded of, you know what, you're right, this is your worth.
You know, it's scary. And if you don't have the conversations and if you're not willing to, then I think that it's unfair to everybody else either. So
Yeah.
Did I mention I'm an accountant? We're not known for that. In fact, the joke is, do you know how to tell if you're an accountant? Your accountant is an introvert or an extrovert?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Entrepreneur Experience. I'm Coach Joe. I'm a co-host with Jared Taylor with JT Visuals without
the eye, because there's more than meets the eye.
Amazing. I love that part.
Visuals is such a good name for a brand, especially when you're in the creative space.
Well, wait till you hear this guy's brand.
But is it Optimum?
You're giving that away.
Okay.
But let me introduce you guys to all of our guests today. We have Charles Starkey. Charles, say what's up. Where are you from?
What's up? Kansas City.
And what business do you do, or do you have?
I am a CPA, which most of my clients will say that is a constant pain in their assets.
So this CPA is also a stand-up comedian. He smiles every once in a while. Once you get to know him, you'll know that he's a pretty cool guy, right? So, Austan Jones, what's going on, brother?
Hello, everybody. I'm Austin. Optimum Visuals. We're out of Blue Springs. We love to help people with video production and all your content-related needs.
Nice. And you do have an eye in Optimum Visuals,
We do.
right?
We do
Yes.
have our eye in there.
Did you steal it from Jared Taylor?
Yeah.
No, Tekkii stole it.
yeah, we
Tekkii
have
stole
two
it. That's
eyes.
right. He has two eyes. Well,
Yeah.
anyways, David,
Yeah.
introduce yourself, brother.
David with Tekkii, local to Kansas City, digital marketing company. I am the operations manager / director. Whatever role you want to throw at it, we do a lot for Kansas City.
Nice. Even the roles you don't want to have, right? You jump right in.
Too many.
I get that. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited about the topic we're going to talk about today. This has everything to do with success and the environment that you choose to place yourself in and how that's important to your success. And I also want to emphasize that the environment we're going to talk about today doesn't necessarily always have to be your physical environment, but that's also pretty important. It's the environment you choose to place in your mind, the things you choose to say, all of those things, all those small habits that we choose to create or just to ignore, that has everything to do with the success that we have. So let's just go ahead and get started.
Sure.
Cool. Well, anyway, environment, physical environment. Who would like to talk about why physical environment is important to success? Anybody want to jump in?
It's like oh, wait, hold on. I'll wait till someone else says something.
Yeah.
But you just started. So.
Hey, well, me specifically, I don't know like how much I should share about this or not, but that's a good hook, right?
Yeah.
So, I know for a fact I've experienced a friend group that wasn't like actually that bad, but it wasn't really edifying in a way that builds the positivity up that I want to be around.
Mhm.
And I grew up in more of a negative kind of mentality and scarcity mentality kind of thing. And that's not on like their faults or anything.
Yeah.
Like, but they're just kind of naturally, that's what you do as humans. But then starting a business was actually the thing that started to tweak my mindset to being positive, but also getting around the right people. And then all of a sudden, I'm not hanging out with those friends anymore and stuff, you know?
It's amazing.
And it's not that like they're terrible people or anything. It's just that I spent less time with them. And sometimes you don't have to do that. Like if it's your mom that like makes you go all crazy mentally, it's like you don't have to have 4 conversations a day, and you don't like have to always cut them out all the way.
Yeah,
You just like have 1 conversation a week instead and like see what that
Yep.
does. And that was kind of my perspective. And then getting around actually Coach Joe, and then going to Asperia, and then Growth Club, and then networking groups, and all of that really started to help me. And from my testimony itself, the physical environment actually made a difference, but it was based on the people who were there.
Yeah.
So to go along with what you said, one of the other things I have found is in 25 years of doing tax and accounting work, everybody has an excuse, or they're broke, or why they can't pay or pay the taxes. And it's having that group that reinforces, yes, this person has a sob story, but you have employees you've got to find. You've got your family that you've got to take care of. And so while you may feel bad about that, they're reinforcing, these are my policies. This is why I did that. And to help keep you on that track so that you ultimately grow and get where you want to be, instead of just taking on a bunch of people that you're helping and then essentially become a not-for-profit that's not actually making any money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. I like what you talk about the excuses, and you guys can jump in on this one, but I think excuses are very universal. They're always out there. They're always available for you to be able to take, like a get out of jail free card on Monopoly. You know, you can choose to kind of give those excuses to why you're not paying those things, but to your point, like when you choose to change whoever or whatever is influencing those thoughts, because excuses are really just habits that we've created that somebody, including ourselves, have allowed us to use over and over again to limit our success or to basically stomp on our success.
It's like if you
know?
said an excuse in a plain way, it's like, I don't want to. Like that would be a more direct. It's like, I just don't want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not an
That would
excuse.
be like self-aware and like more truthful than just trying to come up with something. So you're trying not to people please or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I find most people have a difficulty saying no.
Right.
For instance, would you do something for me? And everybody wants to be helpful. And so you say, okay, yeah. Or if you're in sales, it's what I have heard, what I have started trying to adapt is a fast no is better than a very delayed maybe, because
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
then you keep coming back, where somebody tells you no right away. Okay, I'm not wasting time with them anymore.
Yeah.
It sucks to you feel like you're a jerk telling somebody no, you're not going to do this, but in the end, it helps you and it helps them.
Yeah.
that's good.
I almost feel like you get a lot more respect if you're just direct like that, rather than like leading people along.
Yeah. I mean, recently, like I've had to start being a little bit more stern and strict with the clients that we're working with. And immediately, the two most, we'll say, big, extravagant, whatever type of clients, mentally and personality wise, were the first two to ever reach out and comment on such. But at the end of the day, I don't treat anybody any differently. I know that there are crystal clear guidelines and boundaries for myself and them as well.
Right.
And so, like, if that's going to be the case, it should be universally accepted across people that want to see you better yourself
True.
or
True, true, true.
themselves, honestly. Because if they don't follow the same way, then they're also going to be in the same boat soon enough.
Yeah, as soon as I turned my thinking to I'm just being firm with my boundaries,
Yep.
it completely took away they're going to see me as a jerk.
Oh, the guilt,
Yeah, that was a huge change.
anxiety.
Does everyone have kids here?
I do.
I do
Yep,
not.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have,
Yes.
okay.
Mine are older than, I
well,
bet mine are older than
I
most
guess
of
not
yours.
you
I
yet,
don't.
but
Not
maybe
yet,
you're an
not yet.
uncle or something. And
I am an uncle, yeah.
okay,
I mean, I have a
have you
nephew.
watched that kid before?
Oh,
or-
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like, that really was good practice for me to be able to be more direct. I was the beat around the
yeah.
bush guy,
Yeah.
and it was because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings, so I'd say no in a nice way.
Yeah.
So
But
Well, wait till you lose money in a business deal because you can't be direct or you can't
Yeah.
put boundaries up. You know what I mean? You end up saying
Right.
yes to everything because you want to
Yeah.
please whoever's there. And we're all entrepreneurs, right? Like, how many of you have done that before where it's like,
Oh, yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
all right, I'll
100%.
do it, right?
hey, I know you do video, but will you do a website?
Right,
That was
exactly.
me in the
And
beginning.
if I do
Which
video
you
with
kind of
you,
have to a little bit, like to
yeah,
get your first dollars.
that could be a strategy to do that, but that's definitely not a permanent strategy,
Right, not permanent.
right?
So, and one of the mindset things to help you that I have found it started thinking is the people you started with, your first clients, your first customers, your first employees are not going to be the same ones when you get
Not at all.
True.
Yeah.
years down the road.
Shouldn't be.
You
for
know,
sure.
you may start off with the price that's down here where you're not charging much to get people in, but you're working lots of hours. As you grow, you're going to bring your price up here. And the ones that are down here, they're going to fall by the wayside. They're going to go
Yeah.
someplace else where they get it cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then you also have to surround yourself with people that believe in your service, and then friends, family, or new clients knowing that it's justified for what you're doing, because it can be really defeating making that leap, and then nobody, not even people that are supposed to be your friend, believe, oh, you're
Yeah.
raising your prices in this economy, but it's like that's the reason
That's
why.
exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, like,
and
Yeah.
if you price up front, this is what it's going to cost you. You're going to save yourself so much time.
Mhm.
Every year during tax season, we get, what does it cost to do a tax return? Well, we're telling them it starts at this amount, and they're, all right, I'm out. New people come in, and the first thing I do is look and talk to them about price, because I don't want to waste a bunch of time on something that is going to go nowhere, or at the end they get the bill and they're upset. I'd rather them go somewhere else instead of have people upset at me for
Or just
charging.
understand where the investment's going to
Mhm.
come through and what they're going to get from it.
You're right.
Because a lot of times, we have to set up the expectation, which is also a form of environment for our clients, right? Like our clients choose us, we choose our clients, and that's an environment we also have to create as entrepreneurs. Like, if we set those boundaries, it's almost as if we're setting the props around the physical environment we want to have as far as a relationship with them.
Yeah.
We're upfront with the price. I mean, you just had a testimony about this, right? Like,
Right.
where this is the cool thing about the environment that we have as a group coaching group. Like, do you want to kind of talk about that a little bit, and how we were able to encourage you to change your pricing and change your environment with your client, and the result that came out of that?
Yeah. So kind of what to David was saying about being surrounded by people who believe in your
Mhm.
services and what you do, you can kind of have that self-doubt of like, well, everybody works hard for the money. So of course you're
Yeah.
not trying to, go out there and take people's money, but at the same time you're like, this is the value I bring to the table.
Mhm.
And so being surrounded by everybody and being reminded of, you know what, you're right, this is your worth. And so we were going over packages for me of going, okay, having trouble with figuring out what is perfect for somebody's video when I need to start off with packages and allowing people to see, okay, what it is they want before we talk. Well, we had a conversation at a coaching meeting, and later on that night, I had a sales meeting for a wedding. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and pull through with the package idea and some notes I had taken earlier. And I had given that package, built a proposal, sent it, and they accepted it immediately.
Wow.
And so I had to message the guys. I'm like, okay, that was super helpful. I'm super grateful I even took that leap to do that. And had I not been at that meeting earlier, it would have been safe to just go, here's what we've been doing before. And we wouldn't have been able to do that. So
Was it scary?
yeah.
it definitely was before I sent it, because I'm like, this is not what I'd be doing
Yeah.
before.
And then you
it-
start realizing, like, you probably know this more, is like it's just a number, and it's like just
Yeah.
put it out there and see. Like,
Yeah.
like I was talking about environment.
Yeah.
I had no idea what marketing to businesses really meant as far as dollars and what people would pay, because I was still stuck in the B2C kind of environment instead of the B2B.
Mhm.
And so it was like, oh, wait, hold on. People are paying for webinars for like 10,000, 20,000 or more, depending on who it is,
Hmm.
just to go to a 1 hour webinar. Like, there's so
Yeah.
much value there. I'm
Right.
not like dissing on it or anything. But I saw the numbers
Yeah.
and I was like, holy moly, I feel like I'm doing a lot more time and work
Mhm.
And
than that. And wow. So it's like the perceived value.
Yeah.
But also I learned more of numbers and like
Yeah.
feeling more comfortable up here rather than thinking this is a lot, you know?
This may be a complete sidetrack. You talked about physical environment, that your employees, and unlike your customers who may make that decision once a year, once a month, your employees make that same decision
Yeah,
every
day.
single day
Yep.
They show
to
up.
go
Yep.
be part of your team based on the value you're providing to them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of segues into the next thing I want to talk about, because in physical environment's important, right? But what you were kind of alluding to was the culture of what you want to be around. Like,
Mhm.
Mm.
as entrepreneurs, we have to build that within our our team, right? Like we have to build the culture, the core values, the vision, mission, how we do things. But, you know, for us to be successful, it's, sometimes we focus so much on how the team is.
Yeah.
We also got to build that culture about how we want to live our lives, and also place the people in the community that we want to be a part of that will also enforce and buy into that culture. That's why group coaching is really cool. Like, David, Austin, and Charles, I mean, like the group coaching community that you've built here has been
Mhm.
pivotal to a lot of your guys' success. I mean, for you, when it comes to upper management,
Yeah.
when it comes to just that pricing alone was worth it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And trying to force Charles to do some videos. Actually, we'll just clip this and give you some videos from that. So
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Super popular
$50 a
format.
clip.
Yeah.
But building that community is also pretty
Yeah.
important. There's a saying that entrepreneurship is very lonely.
Yeah.
Upper management is
Mhm.
Oh, dude,
lonely.
yeah.
Yeah.
How many people can you just call right now and they'll know exactly what you're going through? Or
Yeah.
they might not
3.
know exactly what they're going through, but they'll actually tell you, dude, you know what? Stop acting like a little, you know what? Get up.
Mm.
Let's go.
I mean,
Right?
there might be 4 here
I was-
now.
Well, and I was actually going to touch on some of this because I think that, that is partly physical environment, right? Because it's where you might be, spending your time with actual other human beings on a regular basis, but also with how the world is now, you're not always experiencing those people
Mhm.
physically. And you might be following the wrong people on social media.
Mhm.
You might
Oh,
be
that's a big
calling
one.
Yeah.
calling the wrong people that were your friends back in college, or I mean, maybe it's even closer to home. I mean, your extended family or this or that
Yeah.
that don't have that vote of confidence in you, and when you go up to the plate, or like your back's against the wall, and back when you were a kid, you were like, "Mommy, Daddy, like, I just need a little bit of a pick me up."
Mhm.
Now no one's there.
Yeah.
So and if you have a group, if you have, at the very least, a proper social media group that you're following, that is a bunch of people in your same mindset, heck, a book, anything that is just like that saving grace from
Yeah.
getting home and
Yeah.
saying, these 2 businesses I have, these 3 businesses I have,
Kicking my
these
butt.
15
Yeah.
ideas I had just today alone
Yeah.
was worth going to sleep at 7 p.m. because I'm dead for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then you wake up at 7:05 because you got 15 more
exactly,
ideas. And then you
exactly.
can't go to sleep.
That's
The,
ADHD.
the thing the thing I find about the loneliness, though, is that you are the entrepreneur. That means your sales and marketing, your operations, your HR, your IT.
Yeah.
Mm,
You're solving all these problems. I can have groups that are technical, the accounting side, but who do I talk to when I'm trying to manage staff and managing those
Sure.
and
Yeah.
doing that?
Mhm.
Or, I mean, yeah, I could call Austin for stuff with marketing, but when it actually comes to the sales and somebody is in front of me, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's
But
not
at
my
least
forte.
Yeah.
at least you're calling somebody, or you have people call
Mm.
on that aren't just brushing you off
Yeah.
or saying get
Yep.
over it. Because get over it is, I mean, like, we want to be helpful brothers in arms here, right? Like,
Yeah.
stop being
Go ahead,
weak,
say it.
whatever.
Stop being a what?
Stop being a
what?
little bitch,
There you
right?
go.
So, but like,
Say it.
but at the
It's
end
a
of the
female dog.
at the end of
Yeah.
the day, too, like, we know that it's because we know you. That's
Yeah.
why we can
Yeah.
say that. It's not because we're so far removed from the situation that we're playing some, like, well,
Yeah.
you decided to do it, so get over it.
And
There's got to be credibility. there.
sometimes it's just, people at times will need a pat on the back, and other times they
Uh-huh.
need a kick in the ass.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the community that you build, you choose,
Yeah.
right?
100%,
Like
for sure.
y'all have chosen each other
Yeah.
thus far. We've chosen each other. And so you give these people the permission to say, look, I don't need you just to be a friend.
Yeah.
I need you to be a brother or a
Yeah.
sister, depending on who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you
Right?
for being a friend.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being
But at the end of
a
the day, too,
friend.
like, I was in law enforcement. I have a lot of, military friends and in law enforcement. They're like, I need a friend that I can call at 3:00 in the morning. They won't ask me what's going on. You just hear them strapping a gun, cock it, and says, where are we going?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Oh.
now, that's a little bit extreme, but you want that ride or die, right? Like, you want that small group of people that you're so connected with, business-wise. You're making money together. You're maybe not making money together. Maybe you're just in each other's circle and you understand what you guys are all about, and
Yeah.
you connect.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, what do you need help with? I got you, right? Like, and
Yeah.
the help doesn't always have to be money. Like, if
Yeah.
anything, they won't give you money. They'll be like, well, let's talk through this. Let's figure out what the
I
challenge
mean,
is.
right. It would honestly be better if they didn't,
Absolutely.
If you have good, solid friends that give you a loan, it's a vote of confidence, but you know that they're also serious to get paid back, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Or you're the entrepreneur. Not everybody has to be an entrepreneur, and vice versa, right?
Mhm.
They come to you. Do you have job opportunity? Can I
Mhm.
get a little bit of help here? And you might need some help. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, like, we all need a little bit. And I think that it's worth talking about those special people
Mhm.
on a regular basis. And we probably don't, as guys, we
Yep.
don't do it regularly enough.
No.
Probably
It's
not, yeah.
but we know who that is. If you were
Mhm.
to ask any guy, you know who that is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mine are Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, Jose Cuervo, my best friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Good friends of yours. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you like to share those best friends with other best friends, right?
Oh, yes.
There you go.
So, cool. Well, I mean, when it comes to just the physical environment, the community that you're trying to create, like, what are some things that you guys are being very intentional about right now in the next season that you want to take yourself in, whether it's family, marriage, business? Because let's face it, everything integrates, right? Like,
Mm.
you have a business, it's going to integrate with everything personal that you do. So, what are some intentional steps you guys are taking that you can share with our audience? Maybe they can draw from that example, because there's a lot of people that are new to business. They're
Yeah.
new to
Well,
management that are watching. Anybody?
Look, I mean, my thing has always been I'm not only in my life to just make money.
Yep.
I want to leave an impression on the people that are important to me, and then the ones that I'm
Mhm.
important to, in a positive light. And that usually means doing a lot more that doesn't involve making money than I probably should on any given day. But I'm still young. I mean, I got lots of energy to put forth into it for now. And so I've been involved in nonprofits. I want to travel. I always want to make sure that, like, my nephew didn't have a father figure for a while, so I was there when he needed it.
Mm.
It's like I'm going to
Good.
fill and play the role that isn't just make money.
Yeah.
But then when you have to play that role, when I eventually am a father and have to do that and take care of a family, or however that roles are by the time that happens, I'm going to do what I have to do. But nonprofit work, anything creative, really just having solid friendships, and then not losing sight of, like, your passions don't necessarily have to be binging Netflix 8 hours every single day.
Mhm.
But if you like TV shows,
Yeah.
don't ever remove that 100% from your life. I
Mm.
mean, it will mentally, ruin you, because
Yeah.
you lost sight of everything except for one thing that was never what you were born to do. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do think people find a lot of value in the simple things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, time just to be able to veg and just sit for a second.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about you, Austin? What are the things that you're intentional about doing?
So I think the two things that are fueling my fire that I'm intentional about, B&I, and when we meet together in our coaching groups, this is the time that I'm able to be my own client for my business, and that's where I get to dream, and I get to also be humbled, and it's this roller coaster of I'm super excited, or I'm being held accountable for something that I need to work on, and being in BNI has taught me that networking is not just trying to earn business from other people, but also it's being able to actively pass business to people in your
Mhm.
community, and also learn from the other business owners that have been in your shoes. That has been a huge thing that's really helped out. And I think that just crossing back over to business coaching, like you said, David, holding each other accountable and pushing each other at the same time, that has definitely pushed me and fueled my fire.
All right. So, being the old man in the room,
Kind of.
Bring
My-
it.
both my kids are in college. So now it's one, funding their college. Two is structuring the business, because I'll be 53 here shortly. Structuring the business so that I can eventually sell it. And that means the organizational structure, people in place. That means packaging. That means
Yeah.
all the operations running,
Mm.
so I don't have to spend as much time in the office. I can go out and do podcasts, things like that
Yeah,
during
there you
tax
go.
time.
So, guys, I
He's
don't know when this is
already-
going to be launched. Probably next month. But
Yeah.
we're in the middle of tax season.
Mhm.
Here's a CPA.
Yeah.
already been able to build some structure in his business so that you can spend, what, 2 hours here just talking about stuff?
2 hours here, then another hour out someplace else. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoyed a couple of drinks already, too.
I have.
Yeah. There you go.
It's already
It's not even 5 o'clock, guys, even where
somewhere.
you're at. It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. So,
So
cool.
no, but that's the important thing.
It is.
Past the where are we going? It's now the how do we structure everything so that somebody will pay me a bunch of money whenever I'm ready, if I'm ever ready
Yeah.
to leave.
Well, yeah.
That's the beautiful
The
part
good
about
exit.
business is we have control of how we're going to build it
Mhm.
so that the business meets my goal expectation, right? A lot of times people build a business and they just build themselves into a really high paying job,
Yeah.
you
Or
know,
low
and
paying. Mostly what I see is
mostly low
paying.
paying, depending on the
When
depending on the
you
hours
would
that you
know.
put into it,
When
right?
you look at the hours for and the revenue, low paying.
Right, but everybody looks at the revenue.
Yeah.
I know so many
Yeah,
people that are like, I do 1 million. I'm like, great. How much time are you putting into the business and how much is your profit? Nobody knows those two. Well,
Right.
I wouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people are stuck.
Mhm.
And they'll start taking wild guesses. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
you know what? Luck is not a good business strategy, by the way, right? You
Yeah.
can't just depend on luck. But anyways, Jared, what are your intentions?
Yes, sir. I got like
for
a
this?
burp coming, so someone stall. I can feel it. It's
Okay,
gonna come
stall
while
it.
I'm speaking.
Here's a stall, Jared. What are
Man.
you
All right, don't
intentional
drink
about?
soda while you podcast.
What do you got there, by the way?
Yeah, Dr. Pepper Zero.
Nice.
Not a sponsor, but
What'd you
hey,
put
Dr.
what did
Pepper.
what did you put in the Dr. Pepper?
Nothing.
Okay.
Trust me, Jared's wild enough.
For those
man.
listening, I winked. So, dude, I would say, because your answer reminded me of it, is vision. Because how do we phrase the question? What
What are your intentions?
Intentions of
the
of
things that
being
you're
intentional.
what are the things that you're
how are we
intentional
being
about
intentional with
to
environment?
form your environment, your community
Yeah.
for that vision that you have for your business?
So the vision is like really what gives me the purpose and everything. Because I feel like you alluded on purpose,
Yeah.
like doing things that are meaningful to get your battery going.
Yeah.
That's for me to stay on the energizing part, which helps me then to be intentional with, dude, it's just a quote. It's be a thermostat, not a thermometer.
Yeah.
So it's like wherever I am, wherever the energy is, I'm trying to like raise it
Mm.
and trying to be like that. Or where I want it. Sometimes it needs to cool down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to like not.
Is that why you put nothing in your drink so that you just control your thermostat?
Yeah, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love
But I try to be my own self, you know,
Mhm.
and try not to be a chameleon, which I can easily be
it.
because I think I can relate to every person. But at the same time, I don't need to just be not myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I go into an environment, I see it as an opportunity to be able to change the environment
Yeah.
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 by like energy and um, who's there, like things like that. So like if I go home though,
So you're basically building your personal brand. Like you're just getting people to know who you
yeah,
are
it's
for
it's
Jared,
just
right?
Right.
yeah,
I
it's
like
actually
that.
just personal. So
Mm.
like I go home and I'm like fired up because I had a fantastic deal start to come through or something, but then you go home and it's all like kids are crying and like wife's making
You just had a
dinner and
baby.
it's very stressed. Yeah, I
Just
just had a baby.
too. Yeah.
Congratulations.
At the
Nice.
time of recording this, third one.
Third one, about a couple weeks old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like see how I'm continually learning how to react to things
Mhm.
differently than what I used to in the past,
Mhm.
so that it sets the room temperature
Yeah.
differently.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because like even in like you, David's been involved with film. He's in. Can I say
Yeah.
he's an actor?
Yeah. A little bit. Little,
So,
just a
like,
little
he's
bit.
been
So
in
is this
something.
real right now, David?
What?
Is this real or is it acting or real?
Oh, this
Nice.
is 100% real. For you,
100%
Joe, it's
real.
real. Nobody gave me a script up front.
No.
Can we look you up
And
on IMDb?
Actually, yeah, I do have an IMDb page with like
See?
4 or 5 credits, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I already got him marked down on my mental roster for like.
He makes
Anyways,
it big.
but yeah, when you write a movie, like it's all about reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really is the human behavior behind everything. And so I started watching movies
Yeah.
and paying attention to more of that from a writing perspective and trying to understand human behavior. And is that likely to actually happen, or is this just a movie being a movie?
Mhm.
And then I would learn from, oh, the way that person reacted to that tone, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have reacted that way.
Yeah.
But they reacted in a a different way that actually I think I like that better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of,
And you're drawing influence from
yeah,
that.
and then
Yeah.
practice that.
You know,
That's really analytic. That's a different way to watch movies. I like
Yeah.
that.
It
I-
will mess with your brain.
Yeah.
I was in church one day and the preacher was
You go to
talking.
church?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And one of the
Nice.
things he said is it's not what you say, it's what I hear.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's so
Yeah,
good.
you know who Maya Angelou is?
I got
The
chills.
name Maya Angelou. Nobody will remember what you did or what
Yeah.
you said. So, I'm paraphrasing, but they will remember how you made them feel and
Yep.
how you
Yeah.
say things, and also the nonverbal, your facial expressions, all that kind of stuff really speaks a lot louder than just the words that come out of your mouth,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Austin probably gets it with weddings and stuff
Yeah.
because when they watch the video, you're like, you spent like 10 hours on one shot maybe, and you're like, man, they have no idea what I just cleaned up, and then, or things like that. And then they watch it and maybe you comment on it. I don't know if you've ever done that. And you're like, yeah, I fixed this or whatever. And they're like, whoa, I had no idea.
Mhm.
Because they just remember that they cried from watching the memories.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like there's so much more to it than the technicals,
Yep.
which I wish it was technicals because I love it. But
That's got to be a tough, like, honestly, industry, because I mean, like, you're there to really be, the archivist, or the the
Yeah. You're
keeping
just
it.
capturing.
And if you're in a bad mood, you can't be in a bad mood that day. You got to capture all the greatest moods, and you have to do it in the most peppy, delightful way ever.
Yeah.
So you have everything you need to make them feel like that for the rest of their life.
And more
bless
times,
you, my brother.
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
well, and like more, I mean, everybody, this is like the best day of people's lives,
Yeah.
generally.
Yeah.
So, but more times often than not, everything's late when we show up.
Yeah.
Things aren't where they need to be. People are flipping out. So
Yeah.
we get to be that, hey, guess what? Everything that we're doing, we got it totally under control, and we can
Mhm.
adapt to however you guys need it. So we
Right.
can almost offer that that sense of, I don't know, just compassion and stability in
Yeah.
that moment of chaos for
Well, if
everybody.
you showed
That's good.
frustration, even though you have the right to be,
yeah.
that could throw off the entire
yeah.
experience, and your
No.
value just diminished. It doesn't matter how
Right.
good your video is or anything like that. They're stressed that everything's late, and then you show frustration about it.
Yeah.
So you kind of control that thermostat a little bit as,
Yeah.
as a vendor.
Yeah.
And it's already a very stressful day leading up to it.
Yeah.
All the time, the energy, and all the people
The
involved.
mothers of both parties.
Look, man, you brought up a really good point about the whole chameleon thing and the thermostat. I like that. It
Yeah.
spawned a really great part of this conversation, because
Yeah.
I mean, that I started at the beginning saying that, being stern doesn't necessarily like translate well to a lot of people. But if you are aware of yourself and perception, then you can be stern, happy, sad, mad, all of that to some people, but you're going to know how to
Mm.
do it in a way that the reaction could be acceptable.
Well, it all comes down to like, don't talk to people the way you want to be talked to.
For
Talk
sure.
to them how they need
Simple
to be
grade
talked
school,
to.
right?
Oh,
Right.
that's so hard though.
Yeah, it is.
It's so
It is.
hard.
But you could be stern in a very gracious way that will get them to be like, "You're absolutely right. I
Yeah.
apologize."
Yeah.
Right? Like, if somebody has a very dominant attitude and they're,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways people interpret their actions as rude, you could be like, "Hey, look, I really didn't like that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they could take it. But if it's somebody who's very, very emotionally led and everything like that, just be like,
Mhm.
you know what? I would appreciate a different approach. It just made me feel a certain way. Do you mind so
Mm.
that we can have a really good conversation and we don't get mad? And they'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
I-
thank you.
I've started
Yeah.
using Chat GPT to write those. And
Yes.
I kid you not,
ChatGPT is
I
amazing.
initially wrote my email to a client that missed something, and I said, "Can you put this into a more polite way and give me a critique?" And it said it was very direct and overly blunt.
Yeah. But that's what we've all been kind of, as time goes on.
Mhm.
We're not all getting bitter as we get older, but I feel like it is natural to
Yeah.
be more direct with people because we've seen it all.
I think we're also we get naturally more impatient as we grow up.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
got a lot
we've
to do.
experienced
Get off my
certain
lawn.
things. In my 20s,
old
I was
guy.
trying to prove myself to everybody. In my 30s, and I'm literally 3 years away from being 40.
Look,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
Are you
just like,
less patient now?
I don't know if I'm less patient, but I'm like you. Like I'm not looking for ways to color code what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
But I'm
Oh, I
also very
gotcha.
aware of people's personality because I got trained on that. It's
Yeah.
just, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I
for
mean?
my
Instead of
fourth
saying,
kid,
hey,
I
let
would
me
feel
think
the
about
same
it.
way.
If I knew I don't want to think about it, if I know I don't want to do it, it'd be like, at this point in my life, I don't have the capacity to do that. But, I'm sure somebody else
That's
would like
been
to
a
do it.
go-to line for me.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like whenever you just can't. Like sometimes people have really awesome things, and I
Mhm.
want to like help them so bad. I have like the exhortation spiritual gift, and which is like where you feel compelled to really want to help people and encourage them, and
Yeah.
you really feel empathy for them.
Mhm.
Uh, but I can't like execute well on that if I'm people pleasing all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah.
And the impatience thing is pretty interesting that you mentioned that though, because I feel like you go through this slight little roller coaster throughout your age groups in life.
Yeah.
You know, when you're 21, 24 hours feels like a week.
Oh, dude.
When you're 34, 24 hours feels like a snap.
Yeah.
And you're like, I swear I had way more stuff to get done today.
Mhm.
And then I feel like as you get older a little bit and stuff's way more lined up, it goes back to that,
Mhm.
you know, oh, a single day, I can do this, 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 this. I'm gonna make calls, I'm gonna do all that. But yeah, somewhere in that middle ground, it's like 24 hours is not enough. And so
Mhm.
we're like, why are you taking up 15 minutes of my 24
Yeah,
hours?
exactly.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say more so on the just being like blunt with people, and on the other side, what's helped me is setting the expectations like
Up
Mm,
front. Yep.
right up front.
true.
That was something that I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out so that I'm not having these after conversations a lot. But there's things that come up that you can't control.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, y'all have clients you work with. Y'all try to bend over backwards to help them, right?
Mm.
Sometimes.
How often do you give your families that you have spent the years
Uh-huh.
with the same grace that you give your clients or your employees?
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up
Mm.
because when I asked everybody what they're going to be intentional about
Mhm.
for the next season, what success is, like my wife and I have been on that topic for at least a couple of years now.
Mm.
Mm.
And something, babe, if you're watching, I'm not going to embarrass us, I promise. But
She's getting
Don't
something
embarrass
that
me either.
something that she did say was like, you know, you talk to the kids a certain way. I've never seen you talk to your clients that way. I was like,
Mhm.
holy crap.
Ooh,
And
that's-
my
that's-
pride fought back for about a good year on that. Like, it's different. It's really
Mm.
different. You know what I mean? Like in my heart, I was like, it's different. And
They have
I
a more
do not
developed
like it.
brain.
Right, right.
I mean, you
Mm.
have
They're
to talk a little
paying me.
different.
And she's like, well, our kids are the biggest investment you and I have made. I'm like, oh, everything she's saying is
Mm.
right. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, you know, something that her and I have been really intentional about is not building the businesses to be these mega multi-million things where, you know, if we go on this path, it's going to get there. But really tuning up the environment at home
Mm.
between her and I first as a married couple,
Mhm.
God, because we're spiritually led, you know, between her and I, and then raising our children, who are the biggest investments that we've made together. And if we do that, you know, all those habits will fall into the businesses that we're building. But if it's not good at home, and we know this as married people, you have a relationship, right? If it's
Mhm.
not good at home or between our the people that we have the closest relationships with, it will always affect eventually
yeah.
our
Yeah.
business. There's always that delayed effect. Like we can stay motivated all we want. When that motivation wears off, and all we're doing is going back home to something that's not peaceful, it will start to chew on us and wear
Right.
on us. You know?
My having a baby helped me because
Mhm.
it motivated me more.
Yeah.
Like there was a deadline. Oh, dang. I gotta, oh. And then now there's still another one, which is like going back to work for my wife with leave.
Mhm.
And then there's also another one that's unspoken because you only get a certain amount of leave time that's paid,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or at least for her.
Yeah.
And so, boom, there's a point when her paycheck just stops.
Mhm.
So it's like, I have to get on it.
Yeah.
There's another one.
What's that one? Taxes?
18 years from now, when they start leaving,
Ooh.
and then you and your wife at home by yourself. How has it been the last 18 years?
Oh,
Yeah.
Just been
Yeah,
all
that's-
about the kids?
Yeah.
Or
it's
you have,
quiet.
Ooh.
yeah,
That is
or
a
have
good
you?
one.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Wow.
Austin, it sounded like you had something really good to say.
Well, I was just kind of like, I'm appreciative that like your wife is able to come to you and go, look, I can recognize
Mhm.
that this is something that we need to work on. And like that accountability part, I think is like,
Mhm.
that's really cool. Like that stood out to me for you too, is like, and then what we're talking about here is environment, surrounding
Yeah.
yourself with people that'll help you push forward. So
Mhm.
that to me stood out. That's a really good partner to have, to be able to, and then for you to look back and go, okay, she was checking me in the best way possible. So
Yeah. In love. I mean, dude, I'm a guy. I had pride. It really sucked. And sometimes our wives don't know how to talk to us. Honestly, that's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not. This is not.
Well, sometimes it's not about talking.
Biology. That's true. That part is amazing. But still, biologically, her and I just react differently. The things that really irritate us or motivate us are just different.
Mhm.
And it's okay. My wife also has an entrepreneurial spirit. And so we both have like hard-headedness in our relationship where some of our friends, like their spouse isn't the entrepreneur, they are, and the spouse just kind of trusts them as long as the money comes in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, like if you really want to make sure you're okay at home, I dare you to go to your spouses or your significant other and just be like, hey, can you just give me some feedback on how I could be a better husband or a better boyfriend or
Mhm.
fiance or whatever that is? And be okay just listening to it and taking notes because it's not just about us.
See, because it's how you react to
Mhm.
things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's
That's the
hard.
scariest question I ever asked her.
It's scary.
And I still don't want to ask her. I've been doing it
If
for a
my
minute.
wife did it
Mhm.
right, though,
Mhm.
if she's listening, and she knows this and does it, I am a positive reinforcement kind of guy.
Yeah.
Same
So,
here.
like,
Mhm.
if, like, you really, it's like 80-20.
Mhm.
Like, there are times you just got to say it
Mhm.
because there's no other way to say it and
Yeah.
it comes across negative or whatever. And it's cool.
Mhm.
But 80% of the time, it's just attaboy, butt smack or something like
What's man? That's
Yeah.
great
Like,
nonverbal
hey, that's
communication.
awesome,
That's
like,
amazing, right?
that. That helps me.
Who
Keep
likes the
doing.
butt
When you
smack?
did this,
That's my love language.
Yeah.
Anybody?
instead of you don't help with dinner all the time and there's so much pressure on me, it could be, hey, remember when you made that dinner? I really love that, and blah
Yeah.
blah blah, and then it
That's
helps me want to get
You're
real
like,
better.
Yeah, and then
we
you
are
start
skipping.
thinking, okay, well then I can do it this time and this time,
Yeah.
and before she gets home, yeah, I
Remember
am.
that steak you had and you
Yeah.
tried it and it didn't taste very good?
Yeah.
Even if she said it that way,
Yeah.
it'd be like, hey, I was thinking, I want to have that again. Can we do that? Like,
Yeah.
and maybe you can do a couple other meals too, because I really like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said if she did it right. Now, what do you have to do it right?
What do you mean?
How do you do that same thing for her that you're wanting
Yeah.
for?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I know that for me, and again, that's all I know. I got to test and measure, just like, but I know that generally works for her. Like,
Okay.
it's not like words of affirmation.
Mhm.
She likes that,
Mhm.
but that's not like her primary.
Mm.
So her primary is the one, probably like a lot of wives.
Like
You should do it without me asking. Like, if I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
something
Acts
that's
of
an act of
Acts of
service,
service, yeah.
without
She's
her
been-
asking,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that works.
She's been working all day and coming home, and you've got dinner made or the kids taken care of.
Yeah.
Or you bought takeout.
Yeah.
My wife is frugal.
Yeah.
With
or-
no
get out of him.
expectation in return.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what it
Yeah.
asked me, because I always have an expectation by default.
Yeah,
My
It's
wife
hard
like
to-
loves those random times I just come home in the middle of the day because I have a gap and spend time with her. Like that's like big for her.
That's cool.
And if I bring home a bouquet of flowers, that's even better. Men, how do you test and measure that you're doing the right job or the right thing?
Bed.
What's a good performance indicator?
The bed.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Just
I
like-
mean, generally, I think to my usual is if you can have, I don't want to say like too much free time,
Mhm.
but like when you're in that position where you both know what you got to do, you can do stuff. There's not a lot of bickering or unspoken resentment.
Mhm.
That's how you kind of know, like, well, things are starting to progress
Right.
smoothly because there's no second guessing. There's
Mhm.
no hidden agendas. There's none of that. And it's
Mhm.
not that I'm always like, it's gym time, and then after gym time, it's 4 hours of work on my side business. It's like, today I've got some priorities. Let's get through it. And I'm not even necessarily gonna say much more than that. And we're cool by the time it's 10 o'clock at night, and we're doing what we got to do. So
Who's this guy Jim you're hanging out with?
What
Jim, he's
the guy that gets me jacked.
yeah,
right?
he's ruthless sometimes, but he goes to bed at 10 p.m. and I gotta get there before. No,
Yeah.
yeah.
I found that with my wife, and it's funny that we're talking about this because this is our environment
Yeah.
at home.
For sure.
If there's a season of hustle, because I have a few businesses, kind of like you, I know that either something's not going right and I have to go in there and fix it, or it's a season to push. I have started to have conversations with her and say, "Hey, look, this is the season.
Yeah.
if you can give me a few months of knowing that I might need to go in early, come in late, because there's 3 businesses I really have to pay attention to, I promise by this time, I'll readjust my schedule and,
Mhm.
we'll go on a trip
Mhm.
or something like that.
And that's
So
setting
something for
expectations.
setting
Yeah.
expectations,
Yeah.
something for her to look forward to and understand, okay, he knows my needs.
Yep.
He's going to address my needs, address my insecurities, which is you don't spend time with us enough, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And there's something to look forward to at the end that she actually enjoys doing with me.
Yeah.
For us, it's taking a weekend trip somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
that's good.
You said that for me too, and that's why I like you as a business coach because you can get into the personal if we allow it, and
Mm-hmm.
which I do, and I allow the spiritual too,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's really cool for the accountability. But you're like, hey, dude, you got to hustle, you got to put in more time. Your first action step, it was like one of the first ones was set the expectation with your wife, talk to her,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that was like such a good thing,
Yeah.
and that works for her. Like as long as she knows this is a season, a temporary thing, and we just got to do it. There's no other options.
Yeah.
Then it works.
One of the best things about being an entrepreneur is you control your time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
If you've got to, say, edit videos, do tax returns, whatever, and you know it's going to be a huge amount of time, you can set I get to work 9 o'clock, I work till 5, see the family. Then from 10 till 3 in the morning, I'm doing what I need to do when the rest of the family's in bed.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah,
get up
that's
early
true.
at 4 in the morning
Yeah. That's
and
me.
knock everything out and then work and get done at 5.
Austin's a 3:30 in the morning guy.
Yeah, and I was about to
Oh
say
my
that's why
goodness.
my wife, she gives me a lot of grace. And I think where I can set that expectation of, hey, this weekend, let's do something together as a family.
Oh,
Because all week long I could have a full day and then we could have a networking thing at night, or we could have
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
internal stuff all day and then there's a shoot at night. So my week can vary from
Oh,
hours, and
gotcha.
she is great about giving me that, hey, you're doing what you got to do, and I know that you'd rather be here if you could.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I make sure that weekends are priorities,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
allowing her to know, hey, I'm got to be up at 3:30 because I'm going to make sure that this, and this is done before my team gets here. And then we got to do this later. And just like allowing her to know, because to be honest, she wants nothing to do with the
Your
ownership
business,
side of it. And
Yeah.
it's very much just that trust. But I think me checking in with her, giving her those, it's going to be a full week of craziness, but this weekend, let's go to Wonderscope. Let's go and have some fun as a family.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have done those and we keep delivering on those promises,
Yep.
that she gives me a lot more grace throughout the week. And
That's amazing.
if we're
I
going
like
to
that.
leave,
And then that ultimately helps your business because a happy wife is a happy business.
Yep.
that's right.
That
I-
Not
rocks.
just
My
life.
pastor told me, he's like, look, that's kind of one side. He's like, happy spouse, happy house, right? Like,
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
both, like, even as men, we have to be fulfilled.
Right.
But as the leaders of our home, and I know this is controversial because everybody, anybody could be a leader, but like, I know the men that are in this room. As a leader of our home, we have to set that expectation and lead so that way we also get poured into as well. If we don't give our family, especially our spouse or our significant other, what they need, in turn, we're going to get the result of that,
Mm.
and that's going to turn into
Naturally,
bitterness.
yeah.
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 And imagine living like that and trying to run a business knowing that the most important person to you in this moment in life really hates your guts right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I think if we're relating everything in the world and simplifying it,
Mhm.
business, relationship, household, even whatever, it's tough to think about it because just like owning a business, that's scary to take the first steps.
Mhm.
And then if you ever get to the point where you're hiring someone, feels like the same way getting into a very serious for the relationship that will take up a big part of your life is hiring that person or understanding that now you have to be someone different than you were
Mhm.
at the start of the business, aka the start of your adulthood.
Yeah.
It's scary, and if you don't have the conversations and if you're not willing to, then I think that it's unfair to everybody else either. So
Yeah.
once you get past that point, and I'm definitely super guilty of not being great at all of that, which does translate in multiple parts of my life.
Yeah. Hiring is a big step and it's scary.
Mhm.
I bought my first firm in 2010 and it came with 2 employees in January before. It's one of the worst months for cash flow in an accounting firm.
Mhm.
Mm.
I was scared to death that we were going to have to take my wife's paycheck to pay the 2 people that came with us. And then one day I'm sitting in my office talking to a client, and I realize I have 2 employees that are generating money for me while I'm sitting here talking to this client, and realize that your employees become force multipliers that generate more money than you could generate
Yeah.
by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I push the
exciting.
culture of team now. Like
Yeah.
the word employee almost makes me personally just kind of want to like, ugh,
I know. I don't
because
like.
it's
Yeah.
like,
Me
you know,
either.
come in, clock out. Like the whole culture now, it's like, you know, how do I make them a part of a team?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're force multipliers,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? And so things that people like suffer with now in business is high turnover. Well,
Yeah.
cool. Create a culture of a team and help them feel appreciated for being that force multiplier. You know what I mean?
One thing you can't lose sight of
Mhm.
is all those people that work for you, their livelihoods, their hopes, their
Oh,
dreams, their
sure.
families
Mm-hmm.
are all dependent on you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a heavy burden.
It
Heavy
is.
burden to carry.
Thus,
Yeah.
coming back to being an entrepreneur is a very lonely job.
Yes.
It's also exciting though too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, these people need jobs. Like I'm about to hire someone more in-house permanent.
Mhm.
And it's just really exciting for,
Yeah.
hey, people are out there and I don't know why, but they struggle getting jobs, even though there's a lot of openings. But it's because people want to be like when they get jobs, they want to know that there's meaning behind it a little more, or that
Right.
it's flexible for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
very
one or the
different.
other or both.
Mhm.
And so it's really exciting. Like, hey, wow, I get to like it's scary on one coin, but then the other coin's like, wow, I get to provide this for someone else.
It's another
Yep.
problem that you solve, not
So-
only for your
Yeah.
business but for other external factors.
Yeah.
When you're hiring, remember, what are the most important things? Is it that they're there from 8 to 5, they wear a coat and dress pants? Or is it that they're getting this, and this done and making money? What's the most important things, and make that the important part of what they're doing, and let the rest just be what it is.
Yeah. For me, it's character and skill. I
Yeah.
hire for character.
Yeah.
Skill is great, but I could train some of the skill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
train like 80% of it. As long as
In
there's a
most
passion
cases,
there and a
in most
culture.
cases, exactly.
That's what I look for.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, really quick, I mean, I know we're coming up on time here. I love this conversation. Maybe we can have a part 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude,
That was
that's what I
Guys-
was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
part
This
2.
this was
It's like-
fun.
But
The
I
energy of this
Yeah.
environment with 5 people in here is
dude,
so
whatever
much.
Dr. Pepper was in your Dr. Pepper, I want that because you
Whatever.
like all
That's not
excited.
like, dude.
I know.
Okay, I'm
I
a
know.
coffee guy, but
I know.
church trained me to be extroverted.
Oh yeah,
I was an
Mm.
ambivert. I bet if I retook a Myers-Briggs test, I would
I was
be
the same way.
more on the scale of
Yeah.
extroverted.
yeah. Church has done that,
I
especially being in ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't have
always
to say
want
anything.
to. I want to be, and I've always strived really hard to be extroverted.
Mhm.
And I think I still am for the most part compared to a lot of people,
Yeah,
friends
I
that
would
I
agree
know.
with that. Yeah.
But again, you have ups and downs, and generally I love these types of conversations. And when the people around you are willing to at least look your direction while you're talking, like everybody's doing,
Yeah.
you actually feel heard.
You feel heard.
Do you guys ever go like,
Oh, the
what's
emotion came out. I feel heard.
Yeah.
But do you ever do this? Like you're like, oh, I'm making eye contact. Wait,
your
hold
head?
on. What's that 4-second thing? Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta look away. Oh, I'm looking back. Wait, crap. What was he saying?
Are those the conversations
Hold
you
on,
have in
hold on.
your head while you're having a conversation
Sometimes.
verbally?
Did I mention I'm an accountant? We're not known for that. In fact, the joke is, do you know how to tell if you're an accountant? Your accountant is an introvert or an extrovert? Introverts look at their shoes. Extroverts look at your shoes.
Mm.
Oh, he's an extrovert. No, you know what? You're an amazing accountant. I always saw, like, when I first met you, I was like, oh, he's an accountant bookkeeper. He probably just doesn't want to talk much or anything like that. But I have some of the most interesting conversations with Charles.
Yeah.
Just he randomly comes up with these topics. I'm like, I don't know how you thought about that, but that was freaking interesting. He's like, I just
think-
listened to this podcast, and did you know this? I'm like, no, I didn't.
You gotta
But-
show your genius more
Yeah.
Have you
for the public.
have you listened? Have you listened to this podcast, Charles? This particular one that we're shooting right now. Have you listened to it in the future?
Yes,
Okay,
because this will
very
air in the
He's
future
using
and I will
AI.
hear it.
He's using AI.
Actually, I have a DeLorean parked in the garage. I've
perfect.
already.
Oh.
Great Scott.
That's who it was. Yeah.
Well, what am I about to say then?
I can't tell you because then it,
will start
paradox.
disappearing.
Yeah, the
I
ripple
can't tell
effects.
you because the paradox. Whoa, how'd you know?
Really quick, let's close
Yeah.
this out. I just kind of want to hear everybody's like version of success. Like, what does success mean to you in one sentence?
Yikes.
Charles, what is your definition of success in one sentence?
Happiness. It is working as much or as little as I want, having the money to pay for kids' school and retirement. It's, helping other people. But that's,
That was amazing 5 sentences, but thank you.
Man, he
I
can do it
started
in
with one word.
Yeah.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Happiness.
That's it.
Yeah.
A lot of commas in the next one, right? So,
Yeah.
what about you, Austin?
On the spot, probably fulfillment in all ways of love and what you're doing and who you're doing it for, and fulfillment in even in terms of money.
Yeah.
For me, it's I want to wake up on a Wednesday morning with my wife and say, "What would you like to do today?"
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Oh, we're not doing like real definitions. We're doing like
What is your version
personal.
of success?
Yeah,
Oh,
personal.
Yeah.
okay.
It's funny. I just had similar conversation, and to me, like it's exactly what I said during this. But it's purpose a lot of times. I mean, I feel like if I wake up in the morning, like you mentioned, like I want to wake up, I want to know that like what I'm gonna do that day isn't necessarily inherently like evil. But anyway, like it's hard to put it into one sentence, but for me, it's like my kids, my future kids, and my family always think to themselves that that's my son, that's my dad, and I did right by all the loved ones. I feel very successful. I mean, I could be,
So it's legacy for you.
yeah. Hopefully, I'm not broke as a joke, but like if the legacy always,
You can control
if I
that.
was passed in the ground and everybody after that was like solid boy there, like that's cool to be.
Mm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Headstone, solid
Headstone,
boy.
solid
Yeah,
boy.
solid boy.
Well, look, if you go early, I'll make sure that your headstones.
Yeah, solid boy.
What about you?
Funny, I was gonna say purpose too.
Mhm.
Getting purpose and giving purpose.
There you
Giving
go.
purpose. I love
The
that.
cycle.
I'm going to amend mine a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
Hold
Amend
on.
it.
One of those is to be able to go out and do a 2-hour podcast at the beginning of tax season.
That's success.
Yeah, I was about to say
Hey,
we're
you're
already
already there.
doing it.
We're
Yeah.
You're
doing
already
that. So
it's
he is,
success.
Are you
he's
doing
letting
one
us
with
know that
Austin?
he's meeting
Doing
success
what?
Are you
already.
doing? Okay, nice.
Do you want to
Am I
amend
doing
yours?
Austin?
Yeah,
The
no,
podcast, right?
Honestly, it's the same exact thing as Charles. I'm like, wait a minute. This is like, I have a team that's working really hard right now
Mhm.
for our company. I'm able to step away and
Mhm.
talk to a bunch of
Yeah.
business owners about how we can all be better. And to me, I'm like, this is great.
How
I'm
are
gonna
you
go
not
home
Have you
already?
launched
tonight,
that podcast?
spend
Yeah.
time with my
I thought he was going to say
family.
a bunch of hooligans, but
Yeah, same thing.
Hooligans.
Yeah.
that's
So, yeah.
amazing. I
Yeah.
love
So,
that.
so you have one? You have a podcast right now?
No, I'm actually
And this is the
doing
launch of
one
it?
right now. This one.
Oh, this. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I have the ability
He's
to step
foretelling the
away
future for
from
you.
production
Yeah.
and from
Yeah.
operations, and I get to do this.
Yeah.
And then tonight, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna spend time with my family, have dinner.
Yeah.
We're gonna
I
have some
like
laughs.
it.
To me,
Have some
that's
steak and be like, send it back.
yeah. To me, that's success.
Send it back again. I'll pay for it. Awesome. So how can people get to know you? So what are your social media handles? Where do you want people to connect with you, Charles?
Really, I want to connect with me in person.
Okay.
Come
How
to
can
my
we find
office.
you?
How do they find you in person?
Come to my office in the evening, sit down, let's have a drink and just chat
Okay.
is the best thing. You can reach me. I'm on Facebook, Charles Starkey, LinkedIn,
Charles
same
Starkey.
name.
And we should have a link in the description
We'll
of
have a
this
link
if
in
you're
there.
on YouTube or wherever you're listening.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we have
Right.
listeners that are not just in Kansas City too. So
But I do much better in person than I do social
Yeah,
media
I
online.
agree.
true about that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And you like good food too. So that's
I
good.
do. I
Yeah.
limit my good food, but that doesn't.
75 pounds down. Guys, he is 75 pounds lighter than he was a year ago. So
Yeah.
I give you
Oh.
kudos, but that's
I
discipline.
thought there was a
right there.
shine.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. His forehead's also shiny too. But that's I think it's a light. So what
We'll
about you,
fix it.
Austin?
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. There we go.
What's the best way people can get a hold of you? Let's say they want they have a wedding and they want to,
Yeah. So Austin at optimumvisuals.com. Email me directly. We can talk about whatever you want to do. But also we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, TikTok. Check out our website, optimumvisuals.com. We have a whole page of our work,
Mhm.
everything we've done. And honestly, I'm into video and I've done it my whole life. So even if you just want to talk about something, I'm happy to have a conversation on what it would take to do something like that.
So
So
that's a good question.
Yeah.
What it would take.
You know, it's
And that's
cool.
Austin with an A.
yes.
And the I is in visual.
Yes.
What I like is that these two are like some of the best videographers I know, Austin and Jared.
Yeah, it's
and
good
they
to be
love
on
each
a
other.
recording together.
They love
know.
each other. This is what community is about. It doesn't have to be just people that are not in your industry. It's
Right.
you can bounce ideas.
Oh yeah.
Your specialty is much different than your specialty, and the products that
Uh-huh.
you guys put together is amazing.
And none of y'all are in my specialty.
Yeah,
so,
no,
yeah.
I do not want to be in numbers.
That's my
I said
fourth
my
You can
business
have
I'm
that one.
starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
What
want
about you,
that one.
David? How can people get a hold of you?
So I mean, I obviously have my own couple businesses that I run too, but I come and represent every time here generally for the business I'm a manager in, Tekkii, spelled Tekkii, digital marketing firm in Kansas City, and you can find us online and all social medias. If you want to find me personally, we'll have my link as well. I have everything, and I'm reasonably active on all my side businesses now, stemming from e-commerce and custom T-shirts. And
Let's put that
and
link
things
in,
like
in
that.
there. Your custom T-shirts,
Yeah,
they're pretty rad.
I'm
They are
really
cool.
They're
happy.
Okay,
pretty
send
rad.
it to me.
Yeah.
And if you don't send it to me, it's not gonna make it.
Well, it's the grand opening of it was literally last week, so I'm
Oh
really
wow.
happy
At the time of recording.
of January 2025, we'll call it, was the grand opening of the
Mhm.
website, and
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
I'm really happy for V1, and I hope everybody
Let's
else
go.
finds it as well.
Yeah,
That's
I like
awesome.
it.
And if you want to listen to more from Tekkii, we had David Jackson on here in a past
Yeah, yeah.
episode.
Your
So-
boss, the guy
Yeah.
who founded Tekkii in the past
Yeah.
episode.
Yep.
He's pretty cool. He's good at podcasts.
He's
Yeah.
probably got a lot more insights of business than me for now, but I have a lot of the
But dude, you're learning.
a lot
It's
of
amazing how much you're learning and
Yeah.
implementing.
yeah. He had 7 years on me before I started in the business. So
Sorry to interrupt this, but what I benefit with you being a part of our group is that I have somebody who I want to think like you, who's in a position just like you. And so I had no idea I would get this value out of
Thank you for
this
that, man.
group of being able to do that. So I really respect
Yeah.
it. And I love to hear your feedback whenever we meet as a group.
appreciate it.
It's amazing. Well, guys, if you're watching this episode and you finished, I hope you found encouragement. I hope you found, just a good person to relate to, so that way you know that as in your journey as an entrepreneur, you're not alone. My encouragement is to really just find your community. Really create that physical environment that's ideal for you physically, mentally, spiritually. Get the right people around there, build the culture.
Mhm.
That's everything. Mindset is everything,
Yeah.
guys. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that do what you do. There's a lot of businesses that are running on the same fundamentals that you're learning right now, but your mindset's really what's going to get you to that level of success that you're dreaming of. And it's very, very possible. Here is our 5 people that are fulfilling a portion of our dream. 2
Yeah, that's
hours to
right.
do a podcast while business is running. Do we have everything perfect? No. I think we all know that there's another level of success that we want to get to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're just starting, if you're a rugged veteran, you know exactly what we're talking about. So I really appreciate your time. And yeah,
Yep. If you want
Amazing.
something to change through you, sometimes you got to change what's in you first.
Yep.
And then, man, this was an awesome episode.
I like this one.
Let us know in the comments. Hey, if you're stringing along and you have not hit that subscribe button and you're watching on YouTube, then
I'm
hit
looking
that.
at you. You better subscribe.
Mhm. Up, down, sideways, wherever they end up putting the button. I'm
And I
Right
want to
here.
see every person here
We should put
subscribe.
it like right
Yeah.
over Charles's face.
We'll just point at Charles right now. There you go. There's subscribe.
That's
So-
so much extra work for an editor. No, I'm kidding.
We got 2 in here. I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. All right, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
Stay
you.
strong.
And
Yeah.
keep on keeping on.